Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we are going to step away from the noise and the light of the modern world to descend into the cold, damp silence of history. We are going to a place designed not just to punish the body, but to dismantle the human mind, piece by piece. We are diving into the terrifying reality of the oubliette, the dungeon of the forgotten. It is a journey that will take us through the slow, agonizing disintegration of a human being trapped in absolute darkness. It is going to be raw, it is going to be heavy, and it is going to be a long night. So, before we close the heavy stone door above us and let the darkness take over, please take a brief moment to like this video. It helps our community of history lovers grow and ensures these stories aren't lost to time. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss a journey into the shadows with us. Now, turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and let the world above disappear. Let the silence settle in. Let's begin. You are walking down a spiral staircase cut deep into the bedrock of the earth. The air gets colder with every step you take, a damp, biting chill that seeps through your thin tunic and settles into your bones like a frost. Your hands are bound behind your back with rough hemp rope that burns your wrists, but you barely feel the friction. Your mind is too busy racing, trying to understand what is happening, trying to find a way out. But there is no way out. There are two guards with you, one in front holding a torch, one behind shoving you forward whenever you hesitate. They don't speak to you. They haven't spoken a word since they dragged you from your holding cell an hour ago. The silence is worse than the insults. It implies that you are already gone, that you are no longer a person worth talking to, just a package being delivered to its final destination. The torchlight flickers against the wet stone walls, casting long, dancing shadows that look like reaching hands trying to pull you into the rock. The smell of the place changes as you go deeper. The scent of wood smoke and roasting meat from the castle kitchens above fades away, replaced by the smell of mold, wet earth, and something else, something sharp and metallic that catches in the back of your throat. It is the smell of old fear, of stagnant water and unwashed bodies. You reach the bottom of the stairs. You are in a small circular room, barely wide enough for the three of you. In the center of the floor, there is a heavy iron grate. The guard in front sets the torch in a sconce on the wall and bends down to unlock it. The sound of the key turning in the rusted lock is deafening in the small space. Then, the screech of metal on stone as the grate is dragged aside. A hole. That is all it is. A black, gaping mouth in the floor. You look down, but the torchlight doesn't reach the bottom. It just gets swallowed by the gloom. "Please," you say. Your voice sounds small, pathetic, cracking under the weight of your fear. "Please, just tell me what I did. Let me see the Lord. There must be a mistake." The guard behind you doesn't answer. He just places a hand flat in the center of your back. You brace yourself, expecting to be led down a ladder, or perhaps lowered by a rope. But there is no rope. There is no ladder. There is only the shove. It is violent and sudden. The ground disappears beneath your feet. For a second, you are weightless, suspended in the dark, your stomach lurching into your throat. You have just enough time to draw a sharp breath before gravity reclaims you. The impact is not just a collision with the ground. It is a tectonic shift within your own body. You hit the hard, uneven surface with the force of a falling sack of grain. The air leaves your lungs in a violent, involuntary whoosh, leaving you gasping, your mouth opening and closing like a fish pulled from the river. But the breath is the least of your worries. It is the sound, a wet, sickening crack that echoes in the small chamber, followed immediately by a sensation of white-hot lightning traveling up your right leg. Your ankle has not just twisted, it is shattered. You roll onto your back, gasping for air that refuses to come, your bound hands crushed beneath your body. You lay there, writhing in the dirt, until finally your lungs spasm and draw in a ragged, wheezing breath. The air down here is thick and heavy, tasting of rot. "Hey!" you scream, the word tearing out of your throat. "Hey! I'm hurt! My leg!" You look up. Far above you, framed by the circular opening in the ceiling, are the faces of the two guards. They look small from down here, distorted by the distance and the flickering torchlight. They are looking down at you with no more emotion than a man looking at a stone he just kicked into a well. One of them spits. You watch the saliva fall, a tiny speck catching the light, before it lands somewhere in the darkness beside you. Then, without a word, they grab the iron grate. You see it sliding back into place, eclipsing the faces, cutting off the view of the torchlit room. "No, wait! Don't!" you beg, struggling to sit up despite the agony in your ankle. "Don't close it, please!" The slam is final. It vibrates through the walls, through the floor, through your own body. The grate clicks into place, and then the light is gone. Not just dimmed, but extinguished. You are plunged into a darkness so absolute, so heavy, that it feels like a physical weight pressing against your eyeballs. You blink rapidly, straining to see anything. Your own nose, your knees, the wall. But there is nothing. Just a seamless, suffocating black void. For the first few moments, you don't move. You just breathe. Short, panicked breaths that echo loudly in the confined space. You listen. You can hear the guards walking away. Their footsteps are muffled by the stone ceiling, growing fainter and fainter. Thump. 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 And then, silence. You are alone. The realization hits you harder than the fall. You are in an oubliette. You know the stories. Everyone in the village knows the stories. The oubliette comes from the French word oublier, to forget. This isn't a holding cell. This isn't where you wait for trial. This is where you go when the world has decided to stop thinking about you. There will be no guard coming with bread and water in the morning. There will be no questions asked. You have been put in a stone bottle and shelved in the darkest corner of the cellar. Panic begins to set in, rising in your chest like rising floodwater. You need to know where you are. You need to understand the dimensions of your cage. You try to stand, but as soon as you put weight on your right foot, your leg collapses under you, sending a fresh wave of nausea rolling through your stomach. Broken. Definitely broken. You grit your teeth, suppressing a sob, and roll onto your stomach. Your hands are still tied behind your back. You struggle, twisting your wrists, scraping the skin raw against the rough hemp. You pull, you strain, you dislocate your thumbs, but the knots hold tight. They were tied by men who know their business. You are helpless, bound and broken in the dark. So you crawl. You drag yourself across the floor using your elbows and your knees, your face inches from the ground. You move blindly, seeking a wall. Your shoulder bumps into cold, slimy stone. You lean your forehead against it, the chill of the rock feeling almost shocking against your feverish skin. The wall is curved, smooth, heavy. You drag yourself along its perimeter. 1 foot, 2 feet, 5 feet. You keep going, hoping to find a corner, a door, a crack, anything. But the curve is continuous. You are at the bottom of a cylinder, the architecture of despair. The walls slope slightly inward as they go up, creating a bottleneck that makes climbing impossible even if you weren't injured. You are a rat in a bucket. You stop moving and slump against the wall, exhausted by the effort. Now that the noise of your own struggle has subsided, your other senses begin to heighten in the darkness. Specifically, your sense of smell. When you first fell, the shock masked it, but now it assaults you. The air is stagnant, devoid of any breeze or circulation. It smells of damp limestone, yes, but beneath that is something foul. Acrid ammonia, the sharp sting of urine, and underneath that, the sweet, cloying scent of decay. You realize with a shudder that the floor you are lying on is not dirt. It is soft, spongy. You shift your weight, and you hear a sound beneath you. A dry crunch. Like stepping on dry twigs in autumn. But there are no trees down here. You freeze. You try to maneuver your bound hands to touch the ground behind you. Your fingers brush against something hard and smooth. A stick? No. It is curved. Hollow. You trace the shape of it in the dark. A rib. A human rib. You recoil, scrambling backward, your back scraping against the wall. You are hyperventilating now. You realize that the soft, spongy floor isn't earth. It is a layer of filth, waste, fabric, and decomposing matter resting on top of a bed of bones. You are sitting in a mass grave. You are sitting on the people who were here before you. How many, you wonder? How many men and women have been dropped through that hole? Did they scream like you? Did they beg? Did they break their legs? How long did they last? The questions race through your mind, terrifying and unanswerable. You are suddenly intensely aware of the silence. It is not peaceful. It is predatory. It feels like the darkness is listening to you, waiting for you to make a move. You try to control your breathing, to quiet the wheezing sobs that are racking your chest. You need to be quiet. Why? You don't know. Instinct. The instinct of a prey animal hiding in a burrow. Time begins to lose its meaning. In the world above, the world of light and sky and air, time is measured by things you can see. The movement of the sun across the sky, the length of shadows, the color of the clouds. Here, there is only the dark. Was that fall 10 minutes ago? An hour? You try to count seconds in your head. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3, but your mind wanders. The pain in your ankle throbs in a rhythm that feels slower than a heartbeat, but faster than a clock. You lose count. You start again. You lose count again. The darkness seems to swallow the numbers. Thirst begins to make itself known. It starts as a dryness in the back of your throat, a sticky feeling on your tongue. You lick your lips, but they are dry and cracked. The adrenaline is fading, leaving you hollow and shaking. You are cold. So incredibly cold. The dampness of the stone floor seeps through your clothes, drawing the heat out of your body. You curl into a ball, knees to chest, trying to preserve warmth, trying to protect your broken ankle. You close your eyes and try to imagine your bed at home. The wool blanket, the straw mattress, the smell of the hearth. But the image is weak. The darkness down here is stronger than your memories. It is already starting to eat them. You drift into a strange state, not quite sleep, but not quite awake. A delirium of pain and exhaustion. You hear a sound, a scratch, tiny, sharp. Scritch, scratch. You snap your eyes open. The sound stops. You hold your breath. Scritch, scratch. It is coming from the other side of the room. Something is moving in the bone pile. Something small. Something alive. You freeze, your breath caught in your chest, every muscle in your body tensed despite the exhaustion. The sound comes again. It is closer now, distinct. It is the sound of claws on stone, the sound of tiny, restless bodies moving through the debris. You squint into the void, your eyes straining until they water, but the darkness yields nothing. You can only listen. The scratching stops, replaced by a wet, sniffing sound. It is right beside your boot. You kick out violently, a spasm of pure instinct. Your good leg connects with something soft and solid. There is a high-pitched squeal, a frantic scrabbling of claws, and the sound of a small body tumbling away into the darkness. A rat. Of course. It had to be. You pull your legs in tight to your chest, tucking your chin into your knees, trying to make yourself a fortress of flesh and bone. But the squeal has not frightened them away. It has alerted the others. The darkness around you comes alive with rustling. It is not just one rat. It is a colony. They are the permanent residents of this pit, and you are the intruder. Or perhaps you are the delivery. They are bold. Rats in the village run from the stomp of a boot or the flash of a lantern. But these rats have never seen the sun. They have never learned to fear man. To them, you are just a large, warm mound of meat that has fallen from the sky. You feel a weight land on your shoulder. You thrash, shaking it off, shouting into the silence. "Get off! Get away!" Your voice is hoarse, cracking with panic. The rat drops, but you feel its tail brush against your neck, dry and scaly like a whip. Another one nips at your ankle, the broken one. The pain flares up, white and blinding, and you scream, a raw, guttural sound that tears at your vocal cords. You are at a disadvantage, and they know it. Your hands are still bound behind your back. You cannot swat them. You cannot crush them. You can only thrash and roll, like a worm on a hook. You roll across the uneven floor, your shoulder digging into the sharp debris, crushing brittle bones beneath your weight. The movement sends a fresh wave of agony up your shattered leg, but you don't stop. You roll until you hit the opposite wall, gasping, sweat stinging your eyes. The rats retreat, but not far. You can hear them in the center of the room, chittering, regrouping. They are patient. They know you are not going anywhere. Hours bleed into what feels like days. You don't know if it is night or day up above. You only know the rhythm of the attacks. You doze off from sheer exhaustion, your head lolling against the damp stone, only to be woken by sharp teeth sinking into your calf or whiskers brushing against your cheek. Sleep becomes a terror. You learn to sleep in microbursts, seconds at a time, jolting awake at the slightest sound. The adrenaline that kept you going initially has turned into a sour, toxic sludge in your veins. You are shaking, not just from the cold, but from a profound, vibrating weakness. Your hands. You need your hands. The realization pierces through the fog of pain. If you don't free your hands, the rats will eat you alive while you sleep. You struggle into a sitting position, ignoring the protest of your abdominal muscles. You shuffle backward, pressing your bound wrists against the wall, feeling for a jagged edge, a sharp stone, anything. The wall is smooth, maliciously so. You slide down, feeling the floor. Your fingers, numb and swollen, brush against the debris. Fabric, filth, and bones. Lots of bones. You grope blindly behind your back, sifting through the remains of the dead. You find a long, curved bone. A femur? A humerus? It is too blunt. You toss it aside. You dig deeper, your fingernails scraping against the stone floor. Finally, your hand closes around something sharp. A shard. Maybe a piece of a shattered skull, maybe a broken rib. It has a jagged, serrated edge. It is brittle, but it is sharp. You maneuver the bone shard between your wrists. It is awkward, painful work. You have to twist your arms at an unnatural angle, your shoulders screaming in their sockets. You begin to saw at the thick hemp rope. Scrape, scrape. The motion is tiny, ineffective. The rope is thick, coated in tar or wax to prevent rot. You cut your own skin. You feel the warm trickle of blood running down your palms, mixing with the filth on the floor. The scent of fresh blood changes the atmosphere in the room instantly. The rustling gets louder. The rats smell it. They are coming back. "No!" you hiss, sawing faster. The bone shard snaps. You cry out in frustration, dropping the useless pieces. You frantically search for another. The rats are close now. You can feel their heat. One crawls over your leg. You kick, but your energy is fading. You find another shard, thicker this time. You saw frantically, ignoring the pain in your wrists, ignoring the fact that you were slicing into your own flesh as much as the rope. Snap. A strand gives way. Then another. You pull your wrists apart with all your remaining strength, the rope biting into your skin, cutting off circulation, until... pop! The rope loosens. Your hands fly apart, hitting the floor. You bring them in front of you, cradling them to your chest. The sensation is excruciating. As the blood rushes back into your hands, it feels like they are on fire, like 1,000 needles are being driven into your fingertips. You gasp, rocking back and forth, waiting for the fire to die down. But you are free. You are unbound. You reach out and grab a handful of the filth from the floor and hurl it into the darkness towards the sound of the rats. "Come on, then!" you scream. "Come on!" You are armed now. You grab a heavy bone, swinging it wildly in the dark. You hit nothing but air, but the aggression feels good. It feels like life. The rats, sensing the change in the predator-prey dynamic, retreat to the edges of the room. You have bought yourself some space. But with the immediate threat of the rats pushed back, a new, more formidable enemy reveals itself. Thirst. It has been creeping up on you, a background noise to the pain and panic, but now it moves to the forefront. Your mouth feels like it is filled with sand. Your tongue is swollen, too big for your mouth. It clicks against the roof of your palate when you try to swallow. You have not had water since... when? The morning of your arrest? Yesterday? 2 days ago? The dampness of the dungeon mocks you. You can feel the moisture in the air. You can smell the wet stone. You run your hand down the wall. It is slick with condensation and slime. Desperation overrides dignity. You press your face against the cold, slimy stone wall. You extend your tongue and lick the moisture from the rock. It tastes vile. Mold, salt, and the metallic tang of ancient filth. It triggers a gag reflex, your empty stomach heaving violently. But you suppress it. You lick again. And again. You drag your tongue across the rough stone until it is raw, harvesting meager drops of contaminated water. It doesn't quench your thirst. It only teases it, leaving a foul aftertaste that makes you want to vomit. You slide down the wall, collapsing back onto the floor. Your hand brushes your right leg, the broken ankle. You hesitate, then reach down to touch it. Even through the fabric of your boot, you can feel the heat radiating from it. It is swollen to twice the size of the other one. The boot feels like a vice, crushing the traumatized flesh. You know you should take it off. But you also know that if you take it off, you will never get it back on. And without the boot, the rats will have easy access to your flesh. You leave it on. The pain is a constant, throbbing drumbeat, syncing with the pounding of your heart. Then comes the shame. The inevitable biological reality. You need to relieve yourself. In the world above, this is a private act, civilized. Here, it is a degradation. You drag yourself to the furthest side of the circular room, away from where you have decided to sleep. You fumble with your clothes in the dark. You do what you must. The smell is immediate, sharp, and suffocating in the stagnant air. You crawl away quickly, but you cannot escape it. You are adding to the oubliette. You are becoming part of the compost. You realize with a sinking horror that you are breathing in the decay of the people who died right where you are sitting. You are inhaling their dust. They are inside you. Time stretches and warps. You drift in and out of consciousness. Hunger begins to gnaw at you, a sharp, cramping pain that feels like a fist clenching inside your gut. But it is strange. The hunger is less demanding than the thirst. The body can survive weeks without food, but only days without water. Your body knows this. It begins to prioritize. Your saliva production stops completely. Your eyes feel gritty and dry. Blinking sounds like sandpaper. Your headache grows from a dull throb to a piercing spike behind your eyes. You start to hear things. Not the rats. Other things. A dripping sound. Drip. 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 It sounds like cool, fresh water falling into a pool. You crawl towards the sound, your hands grasping at the air. Water? You croak. Is that water? You reach the spot where the sound is coming from. The floor is dry. There is no water. The dripping continues, echoing inside your skull. It is a hallucination, an auditory mirage. You scream at it to stop, but it keeps dripping, a metronome counting down the seconds of your sanity. The darkness begins to have texture. It swirls. You see flashes of light, purple and green splotches that bloom and fade like dying stars. The prisoner's cinema has begun in earnest. Your brain, starved of visual input, is beginning to misfire. You see a door in the wall, a rectangular outline of light. You blink, and it is gone. You see it again. Is it real? Did a secret door open? You drag yourself towards it, your fingernails tearing against the stone. You reach out to touch the handle, and your hand passes through solid rock. You claw at the wall, weeping dry, tearless sobs. Let me out, please. I'll do anything. I'll confess. I'll say whatever you want. Your voice is different now. It is weaker, raspier. It sounds like an old man's voice. You wonder if you have aged years in just a few days. Maybe you have. Maybe time moves differently down here. Maybe the world above has already moved on by a decade. Maybe everyone you know is dead. The thought is strangely comforting. If they are dead, they aren't missing you. If they are dead, you aren't being ignored, you are just late. You curl up again. The cold is inside you now. It feels like your blood has turned to slush. You start to shiver. Violent tremors that rattle your teeth and send spikes of pain through your broken leg. You try to cover yourself with the debris on the floor, piling the rags of dead men over your body like a blanket. It smells of death, but it traps a little heat. You feel a bone pressing into your cheek. You don't move it. It is the only human contact you have. You close your eyes, and for a moment the hunger pangs subside, replaced by a strange, floaty sensation. You feel light. Your mind detaches from your heavy, broken body. You are floating up towards the grate. You can see the light. You can smell roasting chicken. You can hear music, a lute playing a song from your childhood. You smile, your cracked lips splitting open. You reach up towards the light. Chomp. Pain. Sharp, sudden pain in your hand. You snap back to reality. The music stops. The roast chicken vanishes. You are back in the hellhole. A rat has bitten your finger. You jerk your hand back, and this time your reflex is fast enough. Your hand closes around a furry, squirming body. You squeeze. You feel ribs crack. The rat squeals and bites your thumb, sinking its teeth deep, but you don't let go. You are starving. You are dying. And suddenly, the revulsion is gone, replaced by a primal, animalistic need. You lift the struggling creature towards your mouth. You hesitate. You are a human being. You are a child of God. You cannot do this. But the darkness whispers to you. It tells you that God is not here. It tells you that humanity is a luxury for those who can see the sun. Down here, there is only survival. You tighten your grip. The rat goes limp. You sit there in the dark, holding the warm, dead weight in your hand, saliva finally flooding your mouth in anticipation. You have crossed a line. You know that once you cross it, there is no going back. The man who fell down the hole is gone. What remains is something else, something adapted to the dark. You bring it to your lips. You bite down. The sensation is indescribable. It is a collision of texture and temperature that makes your entire body recoil. Yet your jaws clamp shut with the force of a steel trap. The fur is dry and ticklish against your tongue. The bones crunch with a sickening, wet snap. And the taste is warm, metallic copper, mixed with the musky, feral tang of dirt. It is raw. It is vile. It is life. You gag, your stomach heaving in a violent protest against what you are doing. But you swallow. You force it down. You tear at the small carcass with teeth that were once used to chew bread and cooked lamb. Teeth that have now become the tools of a scavenger. You don't think. You can't think. If you let a single human thought enter your mind right now, if you think about what this creature is, where it has been living, what it has been eating, you will stop. And if you stop, you die. So you become the animal. You strip the meat from the tiny bones in the dark, growling low in your throat, guarding your prize from the invisible competition in the shadows. When it is done, you drop the remains, a wet, mangled clump of fur and tail, onto the floor. The silence rushes back in, but it feels different now. It feels judgmental, You wipe your mouth with the back of your hand, smearing blood across your cheek. You sit there, panting, waiting for the sickness to come. And it does. Your stomach cramps, twisting into knots as it tries to process the raw, alien protein. You curl into a ball, whimpering as waves of nausea wash over you. But beneath the nausea, there is something else. A tiny, flickering ember of energy. The shivering slows down. The fog in your brain clears, just for a moment. You have survived another hour. But the price you paid was your humanity. You are no longer the person who walked down those stairs. That person would have starved rather than do this. That person is dead. You are what replaces him. You sleep. This time, the sleep is deep and black, a coma-like stupor induced by the sudden influx of food and the exhaustion of the act. But when you wake, the world has changed again. The cold is gone. In its place is a searing, suffocating heat. You are burning up. You kick off the pile of rags you had gathered for warmth, your skin slick with sweat. You touch your forehead. It is boiling. You reach down to your right leg. The boot feels tight, impossibly tight, like a tourniquet cutting into your flesh. The throbbing has stopped being a rhythm. It is now a constant, screaming note of agony that radiates from your ankle up to your groin. The infection has set in. The bacteria from the filthy floor, or perhaps from the rat bite, or simply from the stagnant air, has found a home in your broken body. "Water," you croak. Your voice is a stranger's voice, cracked, dry, barely a whisper. The thirst is no longer a desire, it is a madness. It claws at your throat. It swells your tongue until it fills your mouth like a piece of dry sponge. You crawl to the wall again, but the condensation is gone, or perhaps your feverish skin just evaporates it upon contact. You lick the dry stone. You scrape your teeth against the rock. You hallucinate that the stone is a block of ice. You press your cheek against it, begging it to melt, but it remains dry and indifferent. And then, the show begins. It starts with a single point of light in the center of the darkness, a bright white star. You blink, but it doesn't move. It expands, spinning slowly, splitting into 2, then 4, then a kaleidoscope of geometric shapes, triangles, spirals, fractals of neon blue and violet pulsing in time with your feverish heartbeat. The prisoner's cinema. Your brain, starved of visual input for days, or is it weeks, has decided to manufacture its own reality. The optic nerve, bored by the endless black, begins to fire randomly, painting masterpieces on the canvas of the void. The shapes morph into images. You see a window, a beautiful stained glass window, like the one in the cathedral. Sunlight streams through it, coloring the air with dust motes of gold and ruby. You reach out to touch it, tears streaming down your face. "Beautiful," you whisper. "So beautiful." But as your hand passes through the light, the window shatters into 1,000 spiders that scuttle away into the corners. You scream, scrambling back, slapping at your arms, your chest, convinced they are crawling on you. But there is nothing there, just the sweat and the dirt and the dark. The auditory hallucinations follow. At first, it's just a buzzing sound, like a fly trapped in your ear. Then, the buzzing turns into whispers. They are faint, indistinct, like people talking in the next room. You strain to listen. Are the guards back? Is someone up there? He's gone. Forgotten. Let him rot. The voices are familiar. Is that your father? Is that the village priest? Is that the Lord who sentenced you? You shout back at them. I'm here. I can hear you. Don't talk about me like I'm dead. Dead. The echo mocks you. Dead. Dead. I am not dead, you scream, your voice breaking into a sob. I am. You stop. You try to say your name. You open your mouth to declare who you are, to assert your existence against the void. But the name doesn't come. You search your mind, rummaging through the scattered files of your memory, but they are wet and ruined. You know you had a name your mother called you, a name you signed on documents. But what was it? Thomas? John? William? It slips away like water through clenched fingers. You try to visualize your face. You touch your nose, your lips, your hollow cheeks. But in your mind's eye, you only see a blur, a faceless gray shape. Oublier. To forget. The dungeon is doing its work. It is not just trapping your body, it is erasing your soul. You are no longer a person. You are just the prisoner. The fever spikes. The heat in the room becomes unbearable. You feel like you are being cooked in an oven. You tear at your clothes, ripping the tunic that has been your only protection. You lie naked on the filth, your skin burning, your body shivering violently. You are delirious now. The line between wakefulness and sleep has vanished completely. You are living in a waking nightmare. Suddenly, the darkness lifts. Not literally, the room is still pitch black, but in your mind, the lights have been turned on. You are no longer in the Oubliette. You are back in the village tavern. The fire is roaring in the hearth, crackling and spitting sparks. The air smells of roasted pork and ale. The noise is overwhelming. Laughter, shouting, the clinking of mugs. You are sitting at your favorite table. Opposite you sits a man. He is wearing a hood, his face in shadow. Drink, the man says, sliding a tankard of ale towards you. The foam spills over the rim, golden and cool. You reach for it, your hands shaking. You can feel the cold condensation on the clay mug. You lift it to your lips. You can smell the hops. You tilt your head back to drink, anticipating the cool rush of liquid. And you swallow a mouthful of dry, stale air. The tavern vanishes. You are back in the pit. The disappointment is physical, a blow to the chest that leaves you gasping. You are weeping now, dry, hacking sobs that convulse your empty stomach. Cruel, you whisper to the dark. Why are you so cruel? But the darkness isn't finished with you. It has more visitors. You look into the corner of the room, the corner where you usually relieve yourself, and you see him. A figure, standing tall and silent. He is glowing with a faint, pale luminescence, like moonlight on snow. He is watching you. Who are you? You ask. You are not afraid. Fear requires energy, and you have none left. You are just curious. The figure doesn't answer. He steps closer. You see his face. It is your face. But not the face you had before. It is your face now. Gaunt, skeletal, eyes sunken into black pits, skin gray and stretched tight over bone. It is the face of a corpse. I am what's left, the figure says. His voice sounds like dry leaves skittering on stone. I am the end. Am I dead? You ask him. Not yet, the figure replies. But soon. The water is gone. The fever is high. The leg is black. It won't be long now. Is it peaceful? The figure smiles, revealing teeth that are black and broken. It is quiet. No more hunger. No more thirst. No more dark. Just nothing. You reach out to him. You want to touch him, to embrace this specter of your own demise. He feels like a friend, the only friend you have down here. But as your fingers brush his arm, he dissolves into mist. You are alone again. But the feeling of presence remains. You feel watched. Not by rats, not by guards, but by the weight of the earth itself. The stone walls feel like they are breathing, expanding and contracting. In, out, in, out. You match your breathing to the walls. It creates a hypnotic rhythm. You feel yourself merging with the room. You are not a man trapped in stone. You are part of the stone. You are a mineral deposit, a fossil in the making. The pain in your leg flares again, pulling you back from the edge of oblivion. It is a sharp, stabbing pain now, pulsating. You reach down and touch the skin above your boot. It is hot and hard, tight as a drum. And it is wet, sticky wet, pus. The infection is breaking through the skin. The smell hits you then, a sickly, sweet, rotting odor that cuts through the ammonia of the pit. It is the smell of gangrene. Your body is dying in stages. The leg goes first, then the blood, then the heart. You realize you need to make a choice. The thirst is driving you mad. The dehydration is killing you faster than the infection. You need liquid, any liquid. You look at your leg. You look at the wetness oozing from the wound. A wave of revulsion hits you, strong enough to make you dizzy. But the madness of thirst is stronger. You are an animal now, remember? Animals do what they must. No, you whisper, not that. Please, God, not that. But God isn't listening, and the thirst is a demon that demands tribute. You lower your head. You tell yourself it is medicine. You tell yourself it is survival. But deep down, you know it is the final surrender. You stop. You hear something. Not a hallucination, a real sound. Clank. It comes from above, far above. You freeze. You hold your breath, your heart hammering a frantic rhythm against your ribs. Scrape. The sound of stone moving on stone. The heavy, grinding sound of the grate being dragged open. A shaft of light hits you. It is blinding. It sears your retinas, a physical pain that makes you scream and cover your eyes. It is the brightest thing you have ever seen, brighter than the sun, brighter than God. It pierces the gloom, illuminating the dust, the filth, the pile of rags, and your own wretched, naked form huddled in the corner. "Hey!" A voice. A real, booming human voice echoing down the shaft. "You still alive down there?" You try to answer, but your throat is fused shut. You can only make a croaking sound. You squint through your fingers, tears streaming from your light-sensitive eyes. You see a silhouette against the square of light. A head. A bucket. "Sending it down," the voice says. A rope descends. Swinging at the end of it is a wooden bucket. It lowers slowly, spinning gently in the shaft of light. It hits the floor with a soft thud. Water. You can smell it. Clean, fresh, cold water. You scramble towards it. You drag your broken leg, ignoring the agony. You are weeping, laughing, making sounds that are not human. You reach the bucket. You plunge your face into it. The water is cold. It shocks your system. You drink, you gulp, you choke, you drink again. It is the sweetest thing you have ever tasted. It is life. It is hope. But as you drink, a thought worms its way into your feverish brain. Why? Why now? Why feed a dead man? You look up at the light, blinking. Drink up, the voice echoes down. Trial starts tomorrow. Can't hang a corpse. The realization hits you colder than the water. They didn't save you. They just paused the torture. You aren't being rescued. You are being prepped for the show. Can't hang a corpse. The words echo in the stone shaft, bouncing off the damp walls until they lose their meaning and become just sound. A cruel, rhythmic drumming in your skull. You freeze, the bucket of water halfway to your mouth. The water that tasted like salvation a moment ago now tastes like ash. They sent it to sustain you just long enough to kill you publicly. You are livestock being fattened for the slaughter. A wave of bitterness washes over you, so strong it nearly makes you vomit the precious liquid back up. You want to tip the bucket over. You want to scream at the light, to refuse their charity, to choose death on your own terms here in the dark. But the animal inside you, the creature you have become over the last week, overrides the man. The animal doesn't care about dignity. It doesn't care about tomorrow's noose. It only cares about the burning thirst in your throat right now. So you drink. You drink until your stomach distends, until you are gasping for air, hating yourself with every swallow. All right, that's enough, the voice booms from above. Send the rope down, tie it around your waist, and don't try anything stupid. We have crossbows pointed right at your head. A heavy coil of rope drops down the shaft, hitting the floor beside you with a wet slap. It smells of tar and horse sweat, scents from a world you thought you'd never smell again. You stare at it. Your hands are shaking so badly you can barely grasp the rough fibers. You look at the loop. You look at your broken, rotting leg. You know what comes next is going to hurt more than the fall. You fumble with the rope, sliding it over your head, under your arms, cinching it tight around your emaciated chest. It digs into your ribs, scraping against skin that is covered in sores and filth. Ready? You croak. The word tears your throat. Heave! The rope goes taut. Your body is jerked upward. For a split second, you are weightless. And then the agony hits. Your broken leg dangles freely, gravity pulling at the shattered bone, the inflamed flesh stretching and tearing. You scream, a sound that is barely human, a shriek that rises up the shaft ahead of you. You spin slowly as you ascend, bumping against the rough stone walls. Scrape, spin, scrape. The darkness recedes below you, the pile of rags and bones getting smaller and smaller, the only home you have known for what feels like a lifetime. You are leaving the womb of the earth and being birthed back into a world that wants to kill you. You reach the top. Rough hands grab your tunic, your arms, your hair. They haul you over the lip of the grate and dump you onto the stone floor of the guardroom. The light. Dear God, the light. Even though it is only the dim, flickering light of a few torches and a small barred window, to your dilated, starved eyes, it is a nuclear explosion. It sears your retinas with a physical force, like needles being driven into your pupils. You squeeze your eyes shut, pressing your palms against your face, curling into a fetal ball on the floor. Turn it off, you whimper. It burns. Please, it burns. Jesus, one of the guards mutters. You can hear the recoil in his voice, the step backward. Look at him. He looks like a ghoul. Smells worse than one, another voice replies. Get a bucket. Wash him off before the captain sees him. We can't drag that through the halls. You lie there, shivering uncontrollably. The air up here is different. It is moving. It is dry. It is cold, but a different kind of cold, sharp and biting, not the damp, suffocating chill of the hole. But it is the noise that terrifies you most. The oubliette was silent. Here the world is a cacophony. You hear the crackle of the fire, the creak of leather armor, the breathing of men, the distant clatter of pots from a kitchen, the wind howling outside. It is an assault. Your brain, tuned to the frequency of silence, cannot filter it out. Every sound is a hammer blow. You cover your ears, trying to block out the chaos, but it leaks in. Splash. Freezing cold water hits you. A bucket full, then another. They are scrubbing you, not with care, but with stiff brooms, like they are cleaning a dirty stable floor. They strip the rags from your body. You are naked, exposed, shivering on the flagstones. The water runs black as it washes away the filth of the pit, the mud, the excrement, the dried blood, the rat fur. You feel exposed. Down in the dark, your shame was hidden. Here, under the light, your wretchedness is on full display. You can hear the guards gagging. You are a monster to them. A thing that crawled out of the ground. Get him up! Drag him! 2 men grab your arms. They haul you to your feet, but your legs are useless. The good one is too weak from atrophy to support your weight, and the bad one is a ruin. As soon as your right foot brushes the floor, your vision whites out from the pain. You collapse. They don't catch you. They just tighten their grip on your arms and drag you. Your feet trail behind you, scraping over the stone. You leave a wet trail of water and pus. They drag you through corridors that seem impossibly long. You keep your eyes squeezed shut, opening them only for seconds at a time to see blurry shapes passing by. Stone arches, tapestries, iron doors. You are in the castle dungeon proper now. You pass other cells. You hear voices. Human voices. Who's that? Poor bastard. Is he dead? You want to answer them. You want to shout, yes, I am dead. I died down there. This is just the shell. But your tongue is heavy and useless. You just hang your head, letting your chin bounce against your chest, enduring the journey. Finally, they stop. The sound of a heavy key, the groan of rusty hinges. They throw you forward. You land on straw. Dry, sweet-smelling straw. It is the most luxurious thing you have ever felt. You claw at it, burying your face in the golden stalks, breathing in the scent of harvest and summer. It smells of life. You were in a standard cell. There are bars on one side, a small window high up, a bucket for waste. Compared to the oubliette, this is a palace. This is heaven. Trial is at dawn, the guard says, slamming the cell door. Eat something. Lord wants you conscious when he reads the verdict. He slides a wooden bowl under the bars. Porridge. Gray, lumpy, cold porridge. And a hunk of stale bread. You stare at the food. Your stomach growls, a ferocious, predatory sound. You crawl towards it. You don't use your hands to eat. You bury your face in the bowl, lapping up the porridge like a dog, choking it down without chewing. It tastes bland, flavorless, but the texture is solid. It sits heavy in your gut. You eat the bread next, gnawing on the hard crust until your gums bleed. You eat every crumb. You lick the bowl clean. You lick the floor where a drop might have fallen. When the hunger is satiated, the exhaustion returns. But this time, you cannot sleep. The cell is too bright. Even though it is night, the moonlight streaming through the high window is blinding to you. It casts long blue shadows across the straw. You crawl into the darkest corner, trying to escape it. You press your face into the wall, trying to recreate the total darkness of the pit. But you can't. The light is inside your eyelids now. You look down at your body. For the first time in weeks, you can truly see yourself. The sight makes you gasp. You are a skeleton wrapped in gray, translucent skin. Your ribs protrude like the rungs of a broken ladder. Your stomach is concave, sunken deep beneath your pelvic bones. Your arms are sticks, the elbows knobby and swollen. And your hands are claws. The fingernails are long, jagged, black with grime. The skin is scarred from the rope and the rats. And then, your leg. You pull back the tattered remains of the trousers they gave you. The smell hits you first. Sweet rot. You look at your right ankle. It is unrecognizable. It is a swollen, purple-black mass of flesh, twice the size of your knee. The skin is tight and shiny, weeping yellow fluid. Black veins spiderweb up your calf, reaching towards your knee. Gangrene. You have seen it before on the battlefield. You know what it means. Even if they don't hang you tomorrow, this leg will kill you. The poison is already in your blood. It explains the fever. It explains the shivering. You are rotting from the bottom up. Hey! A whisper from the next cell. You freeze. Is it a hallucination? The voices again? Hey, you! The new guy! You turn your head slowly. Through a crack in the stone wall, you can see a sliver of the adjacent cell. An eye is pressed against the crack. A human eye. Dirty, bloodshot, but alive. You came from the hole, didn't you? The voice whispers. It sounds awestruck. The bottle? You nod, then realize he can't see you nod. Yes, you croak. How long? I don't know. No one comes back from the bottle, the man says. They put you there to disappear. Why did they bring you up? Trial, you manage to say. The man laughs. It is a bitter, sharp sound. Trial? There are no trials here, friend. Just sentences. If they brought you up, it's not for justice. It's for a show. Someone important is watching. Or they want to make an example of you. What did you do? What did you do? You try to remember. The memory is there, buried under layers of trauma and darkness. It seems so small now, so insignificant. I stole, you whisper, from the tax collector. Money? Bread. I stole bread. Silence from the other side of the wall. A heavy, profound silence. Bread. the man repeats. They put you in the bottle for bread? And I hit him when he tried to take it back. Ah, there it is. You struck a king's man. The eye blinks. Well, enjoy your last night. Better the rope than the rot. If I were you, I'd pray they hang me high and fast. Anything is better than going back down there. Going back down. The words hit you like a physical blow. You hadn't considered that. You thought the options were death or freedom. But what if the sentence isn't death? What if they just brought you up to remind you of the light, only to take it away again? That would be the ultimate torture. To give a starving man a crumb, then snatch it away. To let you see the sun, then bury you forever. Panic, fresh and hot, surges through you. You scramble away from the wall, away from the moonlight. You need to escape. Not from the cell, but from the possibility of the pit. You look at the bucket. You look at the straw. You look at your own hands. You could do it yourself. You could end it tonight. Deprive them of their show. You could smash your head against the wall. You could bite your wrists. But you don't. You can't. The survival instinct that kept you alive in the dark, the one that made you eat the rat, lick the slime, is still in charge. It wants to live, even for one more hour, even in pain. It holds you hostage in your own broken body. You lie back down on the straw, staring at the ceiling. In the darkness of the oubliette, you dreamed of this moment. You dreamed of lying on a dry floor, seeing moonlight. But now that you are here, you feel wrong. You feel exposed. The silence of the pit calls to you. It was terrible, yes, but it was honest. It was simple. Up here, it is complicated. Up here, there is hope. And hope, you realize, is the cruelest torture of all. Dawn comes, not with a burst of glory, but with the gray, sickly light of a winter morning. You hear the boots in the hallway before you see them. Heavy, rhythmic, many men. The key turns in the lock. The door swings open. Get up, the captain of the guard says. He is wearing polished armor. He looks clean, healthy. He looks at you with a mixture of pity and disgust. Time to go. They don't drag you this time. They bring a cart, a wooden handcart used for hauling dung or laundry. They lift you into it like a sack of grain. Your broken leg hangs over the side. They wheel you out of the dungeon, up a ramp, and suddenly, sky. An endless, gray, open sky. Clouds moving, birds flying. The sheer scale of it crushes you. You gasp, looking up, your eyes streaming water. You have been in a box for so long, you forgot the world had no ceiling. The air is fresh and cold, smelling of rain and wood smoke. You are in the castle courtyard. A crowd has gathered. Villagers, merchants, nobles on a balcony. Hundreds of faces, and they are all looking at you. The cart jolts forward. The wooden wheels have no suspension. They grind over the cobblestones of the courtyard, sending shock waves of agony straight into your rotting leg. Every bump, every vibration is a fresh torture that makes you gasp and whimper, sounds that are swallowed by the murmuring of the crowd. And there is a crowd. You can feel the heat of hundreds of bodies pressing in. You can smell them. Unwashed wool, stale ale, sweat, onions, and the underlying scent of morbid curiosity. They have gathered not for justice, but for the spectacle. Look at him, a voice whispers. Is that a man? It's a corpse, Another replies, "Look at his leg." You force yourself to peek through your fingers. Through the blur of tears and light, you see faces, rows and rows of them. These are your neighbors. There is the baker who used to sell you bread. There is the blacksmith. There is the girl who used to smile at you. But they are not smiling now. Their faces are twisted into masks of revulsion and horror. You realize then that the oubliette did not just hide you, it transformed you. To them, you are no longer the man who stole a loaf of bread. You are a monster. "Silence!" a voice booms. It comes from above. You strain your neck to look up. Standing on the wooden balcony, wrapped in a heavy cloak of fur-lined velvet, is the Lord. He looks immense, a giant towering over the ants below. He holds a goblet of wine in one hand. "Read the charges," the Lord commands. The scribe unrolls the parchment. The prisoner is charged with the theft of property belonging to the crown's tax collector. To wit, 1 loaf of rye bread valued at 2 coppers. Furthermore, he is charged with assault upon a king's officer. 2 coppers. The words hang in the air, absurd and heavy. You lost your mind for 2 coppers. You ate a rat for 2 coppers. You are rotting alive for 2 coppers. A laugh bubbles up in your chest, a hysterical, jagged thing, but it turns into a coughing fit that sprays blood-flecked phlegm onto the floor of the cart. The prisoner has been held in the oubliette for... The scribe pauses, looking at the captain. "Captain, how long?" The captain shrugs. 40 days, my lord, give or take." 40 days. The number hits you like a physical blow. You thought it had been years. You thought seasons had passed. It has only been a month and a half. 40 days of darkness, 40 days of hell. You have aged 40 years in 40 days. The Lord finally looks down. He leans over the railing, his eyes narrowing as he inspects the contents of the cart. He sees your emaciated ribs, your claw-like hands, the gray skin stretched over your skull. His gaze travels down to your leg. He grimaces. He pulls a scented handkerchief from his sleeve and presses it to his nose. "He was sentenced to await trial," the Lord says, his voice projecting to the back of the courtyard. "But it seems the darkness has already passed judgment." He turns to the crowd. "You see this man? He thought himself above the law. He took what was not his. And look at him now. Look at the wages of sin. He is using you. You are a prop, a sermon." "The law demands a hanging for assault on an officer," the Lord continues, "or the removal of the hand for theft." He pauses for dramatic effect. The crowd holds its breath. You close your eyes, praying for the rope. Please let it be the rope. A quick drop, a snap of the neck. Darkness, but this time, a peaceful darkness. No more pain, no more hunger. End it now. "But," the Lord says, a cruel smile touching his lips, "we are a merciful lordship, and frankly," he gestures vaguely at your rotting body with his wine cup, "I do not think he would survive the rope. His neck is as thin as a chicken's, and to cut off his hand, he is already falling apart. Why waste the executioner's time on a man who is already dead?" A murmur of confusion ripples through the crowd. What is he saying? The Lord leans forward again, his eyes locking onto yours for the first time. There is no mercy in them, only a cold, detached curiosity. The oubliette is a place of forgetting. We put you there to be forgotten. But you survived. You crawled back. So clearly, God is not done with you yet. He stands up straight, addressing the guards. Release him. The words are a shockwave. Silence. Absolute, stunned silence. Even the wind seems to stop. You stare up at him, your mouth falling open. Release? My lord? The captain asks, confused. You heard me, the Lord says, waving a hand dismissively. He is free to go. The crown has exacted its price in flesh. Look at his leg. He will not last the week. Why should I pay for a burial when the wolves will do it for free? Open the gates. Wheel him out. Let him go. No! The scream tears from your throat before you can stop it. It surprises everyone, including you. It is a desperate, ragged sound. You try to stand in the cart, clawing at the wooden sides, pulling your broken body up. No! Hang me! Kill me! Don't let me go, please! The crowd gasps. A prisoner begging for death. It is a horror they cannot comprehend. But you comprehend it. You know what this mercy truly is. It is the ultimate cruelty. To hang you would be to acknowledge you as a man. To release you in this condition is to declare you an animal. He is not giving you your life back. He is casting you out to die alone, in the cold, in agony, without the dignity of a grave. He is denying you the end. Get him out of here, the Lord says. He smells up the courtyard. The cart lurches into motion again. No! You sob, collapsing back into the filth. No, please! The darkness! Put me back in the darkness! The guards ignore you. They push the cart faster now, eager to be done with this task. They trundle you across the cobblestones towards the massive iron gates of the castle. The crowd parts like the Red Sea, shrinking away from you. You reach out a hand towards them, a begging claw. Help me, you whisper to a woman standing near the gate. Water, please. She looks at you with terror and pulls her child behind her skirt. God have mercy on you, she whispers and turns away. The cart reaches the edge of the drawbridge. The guards tilt it up. You slide down the wooden incline, tumbling out onto the frozen mud of the road outside the castle walls. You hit the ground hard, jarring your rotting leg. The pain blinds you for a moment, a white-hot supernova that leaves you gasping in the dirt. Good luck, corpse, one of the guards sneers. Then, the heavy creak of the drawbridge being raised, the slam of the iron gates, the thud of the wooden bar sliding into place. You are free. You lie in the mud, staring at the closed gates. The silence returns, but it is not the heavy silence of the oubliette. It is the vast, indifferent silence of the winter landscape. The wind howls across the open fields, cutting through your naked skin like a knife. You are shivering so violently that your teeth clack together. You look down at yourself, naked, starving, dying of gangrene, and alone. You look at the road stretching out before you. It leads to the forest. The forest of the king. To enter it is to poach. To stay here is to freeze. To go back to the village is to be stoned as a leper. There is nowhere to go. You try to crawl. You dig your fingers into the frozen earth, dragging your dead weight forward, inch by inch. The pain in your leg is no longer a localized thing. It is your entire universe. You are not a man with a broken leg. You are a broken leg attached to a withering torso. You drag yourself towards the tree line, driven by the only instinct you have left: to hide, to find a hole, to find the dark again. The sun begins to set. The gray sky turns a bruised purple. The temperature drops. The mud begins to freeze solid around you, locking you in place. You stop crawling. You can't go any further. You roll onto your back, staring up at the darkening sky. The first stars appear, tiny, cold diamonds. They look like the hallucinations in the pit, but they don't dance. They just stare. You realize, with a heartbreaking clarity, that you missed the oubliette. Down there, the boundaries were set. Down there, the temperature was constant. Down there, you had a purpose: survive the next hour. Up here, the freedom is terrifying. The choices are overwhelming. You were made for the dark now. The light has rejected you. You hear a sound from the forest edge, a howl, long and mournful. Then another. Yipping, barking. Wolves. The Lord was right. He didn't need to pay for an executioner. Nature has her own. They smell the rot. They smell the easy meat. You see the eyes first. Pairs of yellow lanterns reflecting the starlight in the brush. They emerge slowly, confident. Gray shapes moving against the white snow. They are not rushing. They know you aren't going anywhere. You don't feel fear anymore. You feel a strange sense of completion. This is the trial. This is the verdict. You close your eyes. You imagine the stone walls closing in around you. You imagine the heavy grate sliding shut. You imagine the silence. Come, you whisper to the approaching footsteps in the snow. Make it quick. The first bite is not pain. It is shock. A sudden crushing pressure on your shoulder as the alpha male lunges. You are knocked flat onto the frozen mud, the breath driven from your lungs for the final time. You look up, and the sky is blocked out by fur and teeth and hot, panting breath. You expect to scream. You expect to fight. But you do neither. You simply lie there. You are a guest who has arrived late to his own funeral, and you are ready for the service to begin. The pain comes a second later, sharp and tearing, but it feels distant. It feels like it is happening to someone else, to the broken, rotting shell that you have been trapped inside for 40 days. You are detaching. The connection between your mind and your body, already frayed by the darkness of the pit, finally snaps. You float. You watch. You feel the heat of your own blood leaving you, spilling out onto the snow, melting the ice in a widening crimson circle. And with the blood goes the cold. With the blood goes the hunger. With the blood goes the memory of the stone walls. The wolves are efficient. They are not cruel like the Lord, nor indifferent like the dungeon. They are simply hungry. They tear at the gangrenous leg, at the wasted torso. You feel a strange sense of gratitude. They are doing what the executioner refused to do. They are freeing you. Your vision begins to tunnel, the gray sky darkening at the edges. But this isn't the suffocating blackness of the oubliette. This is a soft, velvety dark. It is warm. It is welcoming. You hear the wind howling, but it sounds like a lullaby now. You close your eyes. The last thing you feel is not fear, but a profound, overwhelming sense of relief. The trial is over. The sentence is served. You are gone. The wolves feast until they are full. Then they slink back into the forest, leaving only scattered bones and red slush behind. The snow begins to fall, heavy and silent. Flake by flake, it covers the scene. It covers the blood. It covers the rags. It covers the gnawed white remnants of what used to be a man. By morning, the road is pristine and white again. The cart tracks are filled in. The world has erased you, just as the oubliette intended. Centuries pass. The castle changes hands. Lords die and are replaced by sons, who are replaced by usurpers, who are replaced by kings. Wars are fought. Cannons shatter the stone walls that once seemed invincible. The oubliette remains, sealed and silent, collecting dust and the occasional unlucky prisoner, layer upon layer of misery compacted into the earth. Eventually, the castle falls into ruin. The roof collapses, the tapestries rot. The great hall where the Lord drank his wine becomes a nesting ground for pigeons. The village grows into a town, then a city. Tarmac covers the cobblestones. Cars replace the carts. The world moves on, faster and louder, forgetting the silence of the past. But the earth remembers. It is the year 2024. A team of archaeologists is excavating the foundations of the old keep. They are brushing away dirt with small, delicate brushes. They find coins. They find arrowheads. And then they find the grate. It is rusted solid, fused to the stone, but they cut through it. They shine high-powered electric torches down into the shaft. The light hits the bottom for the first time in 500 years. They lower a camera. They see the shape of the room, the bottleneck, the smooth walls, and they see the floor. It is a thick layer of organic matter preserved by the anaerobic conditions of the sealed pit. They send a team down. They sift through the debris, and they find them. The bones. Not just yours, but dozens of others. Femurs, ribs, skulls. They are mixed together, a chaotic puzzle of forgotten lives. They find scratch marks on the walls, desperate vertical grooves worn into the solid limestone by human fingernails. They find messages carved with sharp stones, names, dates, prayers, curses. God help me. I am innocent. Tell Mary I loved her. They find your bones, too, or what's left of them. They find the healed fracture on the rib. They find the deformity in the ankle bone, the telltale sign of a break that was never set, followed by massive infection. They put your skull in a box. They label it Specimen 4B. You are no longer forgotten. You are data. You are history. Tourists come to the castle now. They pay an entrance fee. They buy ice cream at the gift shop. They walk through the sanitized ruins, listening to audio guides on their headphones. They stand at the edge of the oubliette, looking down through a safety grill. Creepy, one of them says, snapping a photo with their phone. Imagine falling down there, says another, shivering theatrically before moving on to the gift shop to buy a plastic sword. They cannot imagine it. They cannot imagine the smell of the ammonia, the taste of the rat, the delirium of the prisoner's cinema, the crushing weight of the silence. They see a hole in the ground. They do not see the universe of suffering contained within it. But you know. You, listening to this in the dark, you know. We have walked this path together for the last hour. We have descended the stairs, felt the damp stone, tasted the fear. We have explored the darkest corner of human invention. The oubliette was not designed to kill. It was designed to erase. It was a weapon of psychological annihilation, born from a time when human life was cheap and cruelty was a form of governance. It reminds us that the scariest thing in the world is not pain, and it is not death. It is the idea that you can be removed from the narrative, that you can be placed in a box and the world will simply continue without you, indifferent to your screaming. But there is an irony here. The Lord who sentenced you, the man in the fur cloak who thought himself a god, his name is forgotten. His grave is lost, his tombstone weathered into illegibility. But the oubliette remains. The scratches on the wall remain. The horror of what happened there has outlived the power of those who inflicted it. In trying to erase you, they carved your memory into the very stone of history. The victim outlasts the tyrant. The scream outlasts the silence. As we end this journey tonight, take a moment to feel the space around you. Feel the comfort of your chair. See the glow of your screen. Hear the hum of the modern world. You are safe. You are free. You are in the light. But remember the oubliette. Remember the men and women who stared up at that tiny square of light, watching it fade, knowing it was the last time they would ever see the sun. Remember them, so that in some small way, the Lord's sentence is broken. As long as we tell their story, they are not forgotten. Oublier has failed. Thank you for enduring this journey with me. This was a heavy one, I know. A dark dive into a brutal reality that Hollywood movies often gloss over. If you made it to the end, you have a strong stomach and a curious mind. If this story moved you, or terrified you, or made you think, please leave a like on the video. It helps more than you know. And in the comments, tell me, if you were trapped in the dark, what is the one memory you would try to hold on to keep your sanity? I read every single one. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Next week, we will be exploring a different kind of darkness, one that hides in plain sight. But until then, keep your lights on. Appreciate the freedom of the open sky, and never take the silence for granted. Good night.